Hi, so what I got here is the Deluxe Game House Mahogany wood style. So this game board goes by many names. It also goes by the Craftsman collection, and it's made by Ambassador. So you'll see words like Deluxe Game House, Craftsman's collection, Master's collection, and Ambassador's collection. And they're all the same board here. So what I want to concentrate on is the quality and basically the quality of the construction, the quality of the pieces, and whether it's sturdy or not. And I'm going to give you an in-depth up-close look at every aspect of this. So let me go ahead and just zoom into the pieces and zoom into the board and give you my opinion of just the sturdiness of this thing. So I am also going to empty this out and show you the insides and just whether it's going to hold up. So let me go ahead and zoom into the pieces. So zooming into the pieces here, you have these plastic pegs. So these are just normal plastic pegs, nothing unusual or spectacular about them. And if you go to the chess pieces, these are just plastic chess pieces, and once again, nothing spectacular. They'll make do. Just giving you a look at the quality. And these aren't quite hollow at the bottom. Now the checker pieces and backgammon pieces are, pretty cheap. They're tiny as hell. But you could sort of, move it with your fingers, so it's not a big deal. Dices are dices. They're just, there is this numbered. Now I do have other pieces, the Chinese checker pieces at the bottom here. I'll show you that later. Now let's look at the board and the construction of, basically the casing in the case. So I'll tell you right off here that it's somewhat rather flimsy. I'll let you see the underneath and how it's constructed and supported, and also the interior, just to give you a sense. So I'll tell you right off the bat that what I did was I actually used construction adhesive to reinforce it and do some preventive maintenance before it actually falls apart. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just zoom into the board and the construction itself. So there is a reason why it says it's mahogany wood style. So it says here it's mahogany wood style. So this is laminate board. It's particle board. It's not wood. It's actually just particle wood board. So let me go ahead and zoom in and give you a look at that. Now I do want to give you a relative size of the pieces versus the board. So the board itself here, from edge to edge, this is 13 inches. And this case itself is actually 11 inches deep. So from this edge to this edge, it's 11 inches. But from this top to here and side to side, the square itself is 13 inches. And just zooming in here and giving you a relative size of the pieces versus the board. So the chess pieces are just standard piece size. You could see the knight here and the dice themselves across this 1 inch square here. And once again, this is what I mean by the chess pieces being tiny as hell. And these are the pegs for the chutes and ladder and the rook. And as I mentioned, this is particle board. So I will take out these boards here, these boards individually, and I'll show you underneath that it's just particle board and that it's just glued together, and there's no joints or there's no nails or staples that actually reinforce the construction. So just going around, giving you a look at the particle board. But despite all of that, this laminate stuff is, I would say it's pretty decent for the price. There's no complaints here. You could see that it is particle boards from the glare and reflection. And this is all, you know, printed on stuff, you know, no surprise. You're not going to get a, you know, craftsman piece of work here. But I would say for the quality and the price, it is, you know, a fair price. And I will have this in the description area of the video. So once again, as I mentioned, that it goes by several names. It'll go by Game House Deluxe, you know, mahogany wood style. It'll go by the Craftsman collection, or it'll go by, you know, this, the Ambassador. The Ambassador. Sometimes you'll see this go by the Masters collection. But, you know, let's focus here on these boards. So I'm going to take all of these boards out and I'm going to show you piece by piece. Now this does slide pretty smoothly, you could see. And for each board here, there is also a flip side. And I guess this is, what is it, Mancala. So I don't play this game, so I'm not going to talk about each one of these games, just the quality of the board here. So I'm just going to rest this board up at the top. I'm going to take this particular board out too. And these boards are square, so when you're sliding them, putting them in place, you could flip them any direction or any side and they will fit nicely. And you could see there are these shelve edges here, and so that's going to be a preview. And this is the storage compartment or storage case, and you could see there are baggies that they give you. I'll go through this a little bit later. You know, right now I just want to go through. So this, you know, goes in somewhat smoothly. And so this is a good storage case, but let me go and you know, go through the boards here. So you can see once again these boards are, you know, printed on boards and they are laminate. You know, so just going through the laminate aspects of it. And just zooming in. You know, so just giving you a good edge-to-edge look at these. So they are printed on, as I mentioned, they are particle boards, but I would say surprisingly they're pretty good looking and, you know, pretty good quality, I would say. And everything, of course, is just relative to the price. So it's not like these things cost, you know, hundreds of dollars. They are in the $20, $30, $40 range. So I guess this is the Chutes and Ladders. So just zooming in, and I'll try to go slower so that everything's not a blur. And once again, just, you know, showing the edges of these. Do want to show the edge here and focus in. You know, it's pretty decent. And so going on to the next panel. So once again, this is fake wood particle board, as you could see from the side here, and a little bit of the glare helps actually in seeing it. Now these indentations are pretty good. Let me focus. And they're pretty deep. And flip it over, and here's your backgammon board. And for the backgammon board, let me go ahead and go through. So same with the Chutes and Ladders. Flip them over, give you a look. Now sometimes there is some random minor defects. So you could see here. Now, clean that up. And there's the chessboard. And there's also the Chinese checkers. So I'm going to pull this whole entire board out. So you want to be very delicate because these joints are just glued on joints. It's not like they're feathered or dovetailed and put in. So they're definitely not dovetailed. Dovetailed meaning there's like a triangular or angled joint that just fits in and locks in place. So you could tell here, these are just glued on joints. And it does come with these baggies. So this is the chess, and just toss them on the floor. Another bag of chess. The checkers, which is tiny 1/2 inch checkers, not the 1 inch, so they're going to be a little bit hard to grip. The dice is just normal dice, which is great. So I'm just going to leave the dice here. That's the baggie. It does come with the amount of pegs here, and this is the Chinese checkers. So I'm going to go into that a little bit, and here's the really tiny pieces. And I think these pieces are always tiny, so I don't play this game, so I'm not going to go into that too much, but I just wanted to show you that. It does come with some instructions here for the checkers. And I will flip this over just to show you. So this is the Chinese checkers. So I did take some of the pieces out for the Chinese checkers, and the Chinese checkers are, small. So you can move them and they do go in place, but of course, they're gonna roll. But the good thing about this is that the Chinese checkerboards is in this box. So if the ball rolls, it's not gonna roll off the box. It's gonna be contained within the box, and hopefully it'll minimize the missing pieces that's gonna occur. But these are a little bit under 1/2 inch, a little bit over 1/4 inch. So just keep that in mind, that these are the quantity of the games that are there, and it's a good case and good storage. But for the most part, they're a little bit on the lower quality side. Now, once again, I will have this set in the description area of the video. Just going around, and let me empty this out and flip this over, and also flip over this storage case just to show you the quality. So just zooming in and giving you a closer look at the Chinese checkerboard. And these are very tiny, so just keep in mind that they're rather, pea-size. They are totally pea-size. Slightly bigger than a pea, but basically pea-size. So just keep that in mind. On the other hand, you really do want the board pretty compact, so you can't have large marbles for that reason. Just giving you a good look. And now a quick look at the checkerboard. So these are pretty good sized pieces, and they have a pretty decent solid weight to them, even though they're just plastic. And just want to give you a good look at the rook here, or I mean the knight and the rook. And just going through some of the pieces really quickly. So that's the chessboard. And here's a quick look of the checkerboard. And these checker pieces are, extremely small. They're only 1/2 inch. And you can see there's obviously extra pieces for the other games. So let me just zoom in here, give you a good look at the checker pieces. And so that's the checker pieces. So just a quick look here at how the pieces are stored. And so it does come with a bunch of zip tie baggies. And you can see the dice and the pegs. And here's the chess pieces. So it fits nicely. And then it just slides in to the storage case. Okay, so I'm just gonna turn this over and empty this out. And so what I mean by quality is, as I mentioned, that none of these joints are dovetailed, so they don't interlock, and they're really just glued together. So you could see here, these joints are just glued together, and you could see the particle board aspect of this. Now the piece here is very thin, so it's pretty much glued together by, held together by the glue in the back here. So you have to be very delicate. So if a kid sits on this, it's just gonna break. It's not gonna be even a lot of force that's gonna break it. So you have to really take good care of it. Don't be rough with it. Now, just want to mention there is a hole for a handle when you're pulling it out. So I'm going to flip this board over, and I'm going to show you how I reinforced it. So the other thing you want to do is, when you're picking this up, to not pick it up by the edge here, but pick it up by the whole thing. So this whole thing is 6 inches tall. So what I mean by that is, you don't want to pick it up by this edge, because the weight of it is just going to break it. Now it's not as delicate as I say, but just keep in mind that it's all held by glue. So when you pick it up, you want to pick it up by the whole thing like this, and not just by the tabletop. And you could see here that I used construction adhesive to actually keep it together. So what I mean by that is, I actually used construction Loctite, and I did some preventive maintenance on this. So you could see, you could also use the ones in the tube for really construction adhesive. So you could see I glued together the joints just to make sure. And the white stuff is the stuff that I put in. So just keep that in mind. And you could see these rails here. So the one that came with this, actually the rail was a little bit loose, so I just glued it with the construction adhesive, and now it's very, very sturdy. So just, giving a round and rotation of the 360 look of just how this thing is put together. Now I am going to reinforce these joints here with glue also, just to keep it nice and sturdy. And same with this, I'm just going to glue that joint just to keep it nice and sturdy. So it does have the reinforcements as far as the corners, but you really do have to take good care of it to not have it fall or break apart. And it'll help also if I reinforce this with construction adhesive. So I won't use normal Elmer's glue. You really want something a lot more strong and sturdy, which is why I use construction adhesive for this. So I'm gonna zoom in a little bit here, give you a closer look at what I'm talking about. there is the construction adhesive that I use for that joint, also for these rails. And it's good that you're seeing this now, because you'll notice when I was showing the outside, you can't really tell. So I also will end up gluing these corners here also vertically, as well as these horizontal joints at the bottom. But that's really it. That is the Game House Mahogany wood style game, and I hope this helped, and please subscribe, and thank you for watching.